Hello, dolls. Hello. Welcome to another Thriving Thursday live stream. If you are watching the replay, I will get started around the 5 or 6 minute mark. So if you want to skip ahead, you could, or you could go ahead and listen for the announcements because why wouldn't you want to know what's going on in Daily Dell land? But if you are watching this live, then welcome. Tonight, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about you're not waiting on God. You're procrastinating or crippled by fear and overwhelm. So this is something that hit me. You guys know I try to talk from things that I'm actually going through. So it's something that hit me recently. And yeah, tonight we just gonna go in. I hope to not be on here long, but we're gonna see because I say that all the time, and then next, an hour and a half later, I'm still talking. So we're gonna see. But anyways, welcome. Like I said, please don't forget to give this a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. All of that is free and it helps me a ton. So please make sure that you do that. I know sometimes as a viewer, especially if you don't create videos yourself, you could just kind of be watching and you don't think to hit the thumbs up, but all of that really matters. Also, check the description box for all links. The newsletter goes out on the 1st and 15th of every month, unless I'm like running late or honestly, I just don't have anything to talk about, which is rare. But that's where you guys get to know like what I'm working on, what's going on, all types of different stuff. So make sure that you are subscribed to that. It's free. Also, the life meetup group, the meetup life group, I should say that, for Christian single women and single moms the planning is underway. All right. So if you are a Christian single woman or a Christian single mom, make sure you join the newsletter as well, because I will be having a separate kind of like newsletter / email list for those of us who will be in that. So you definitely want to stay tuned. It's not just going to be local. Obviously, the first few meetups and stuff will be for women in the ATL area or that are willing to come to the ATL area. But, my plan is for this to be for women all around the nation. So if you are a Christian single woman or Christian single mom, or you know someone who is, definitely share my newsletter link with them. Like, look in the description box below, click the link to join the newsletter and share that link out so people can opt in, because I really want people to know about that. So as you're coming in, definitely feel free to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Today was a hectic day for me, but a good hectic day. Christian is going to be starting homeschool co-op next month. Okay, so I finally found a place that I like, and it's not far from the house. It's literally 7 minutes away from the house. So I was like, won't he do it? Hopefully we can find a place to move to that's not too far from here, because I don't want to have to commute too far. So, he liked it. They're very, very like flexible. They're willing to work with him and all types of stuff. I did get some disappointing news, but to be honest, it's like, I'm not even stressed about it too much, because I didn't have like my hopes super high up about it. So it's just kind of like, whatever, like, we just keeping it trucking, we keeping it pushing. But other than that, it's been a good day, a good couple of days. I'm tired as all get out. So that's one of the main reasons why I said I'm going to try not to be on here too late tonight. And also tomorrow is my sister's birthday. And I know we're doing something tomorrow, obviously, but I think we're doing something on Saturday as well. So yeah, it's about to be a busy couple of days. Hey, Tara, I'm glad that you're here. It's all good. I'm glad that you always stop by and you're able to just say, hey, I hope you're doing well, though, because I know we haven't had a chance to talk in a while. Also, y'all, I forgot to say that I'm on an IG hiatus. So you can click the link below and follow me on IG at official Rondelle Martin. But just know I'm not going to be on there for the next few months. Like, I'm just letting you guys know that it's not going to be weeks. It's going to be months. I usually take a hiatus every fall, but God really put it upon my heart to start earlier this year. So that's why I'm not really on it. But when I come back, I'm coming back bigger and better. Okay. Like I said, like I'm working on the life meetup group for Christian single women and single moms. So that's going to be launching. There's going to be a lot of different stuff going on. So make sure you're locked in, y'all. I'm so glad that you love this topic. God had to get me all the way together on this. And honestly, I feel like sometimes we need a kick in the butt to really get things going and to just realize like, no one's coming to save you. I mean, I know it sounds cruel, but no one's coming to save you. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Tara, sis. I love you. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate it. So yeah, just lots of great things coming, y'all. I'm super excited and I want y'all to plug in. And like I said, let your Christian single mom friends and single women friends know that they need to be plugged in. Okay. Because this is about to be that group. You don't want to be a part of this, and it's not regulated to just women in Atlanta. Like no matter where you're at, you can join this. So make sure you're locked in. Like join the newsletter if you're not a part of it, because like I said, I will be putting something out there in that newsletter to my email subscribers. just so that I can separate out the segments and know who will be in that segment and who will be in like my regular segment and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna just let you know we're gonna be traveling, we're gonna be having events, like it's gonna be amazing. So, we're gonna start small, of course, but it's gonna be that group. And I'm a whole vibe. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a whole vibe. So you're not gonna want to miss it. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started, because I did say I was gonna get started around the 5 or 6 minute mark, and we're about there. So tonight, like I said, I wanted to talk about you're not waiting on God. Let's be honest. If we're really being honest with ourselves, you are crippled by fear and overwhelmed right now. You have a lot of different things going on inside of you, and you're like, I don't know what to start. And this was inspired by stuff that I've been going through lately, stuff that God had to get me together on lately, and also what my church has been talking about recently, and just lighting that fire under you. Like, come on now, there's stuff inside of you that you've said that you wanted to do, that you said it's from God, and it's time that you get it done. And so I have 3 main points. I'm gonna break it down, and then I will be out of you guys' hair. So number 1 is that we need to really stop using God as a crutch when he's already provided us with the ideas, the tools, the skills, and the resources and people to accomplish what he told us to do. Because a lot of the time we sit here and we're like, oh, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God to tell me this. I'm waiting on God to tell me that. God has already told you what you need to do. God has already put those dreams inside of you. He's already given you the ideas. God is waiting on you. God is waiting on you to get up and do what you have to do. Because when God first gave you those ideas, you were excited. You were on fire. You had a courage and a focus about you that couldn't be quenched. And then you got in the process. So as my church has been saying recently, you got pregnant, because I'll kind of be intertwining some things of what they said too. So I just want to say that, so you're not like, what is she talking about? Like, I'm not pregnant, but like just pregnant with ideas, And so you got in the process, you went through the pregnancy journey, as they call it, the process of going from like idea to actual fruition, from promise to promise, and et cetera, et cetera. And you started experiencing life, growth pains, obstacles, bumps along the way, and then your emotions all over the place, and you slowly began tapping out. And so, like I said, my church that I'm going to recently, they talked about it like we're in this series called Dream Babies right now. And they were talking about it as pregnancy, because everything going on in the news right now around pregnancy and so on and so forth, and abortion. It was just like, okay, well, let's use this as a metaphor to a degree, to get the point across. And so they had said, like, pregnancy, like I said earlier, is you going from promise to promise. So, one season of your life, God tells you to do something and you accomplish that promise or whatever. And then you're just kind of like going through the motions, living life, doing what you do. And then God puts something else inside of you, or something else comes to light that was inside of you. And now you're pregnant again with ideas and with possibilities. And so in the pregnancy, and those of us who are moms, we know how it is. You go through changes. Your hormone levels change. Your body changes physically. Your emotions are all over the place. You're thinking about the future. You are excited. You're nervous. You're scared. Like, you're all these things. Even if it's not your first child, like all these things just go through your mind. And so that's what we often experience when we're pursuing the things that God has for us, the things that he put on your heart, the things where he's like, hey, you're going to accomplish this, you're going to accomplish that. Like I had said a few live streams ago, probably a couple months ago at this point, like I can see the end in sight. Like even with this group that I'm starting for Christian single women and single moms, with every business I started, with my consulting and all that, I can see the end. I can very vividly see my life 10 years from now, how I'll be living, who I'll be married to. Hey, Sakia, I'm glad you're here, sis. What my family structure will look like, give or take, obviously, some ebbs and flows, some path changes and detours or whatever that God takes me down. But I can see the picture, but it's the journey of getting there that is like, I don't know. Because the thing is, a lot of us are multi-passionate. A lot of us have different things that we want to do. We are not a one-trick pony in the sense where it's like, well, I just want to do this and that's it. Because if that's the case, I mean, you still have pains. It's still a journey, but at least like, okay, this is it. Like, this is what I'm working on. But when you're multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate, as they say, or multi-skilled, whatever, it can be hard sometimes to just narrow in and say, like, what do I do? Like, honestly, what do I need to be doing right now? What is the most important? Like, what does God want me to do in this moment? And so we can't use waiting on God as a crutch, because at the end of the day, He's given us what we need. Like everything that He has, before God even puts the idea in us, before He even awakens us to the possibility, He's already considered everything that needs to be considered for that task. So even if He says, like, one thing that God has put on my heart is to start a nonprofit, to help people with homelessness. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty because I haven't even started to work on it yet. So I don't want to, mess up the flow, because you guys know I don't like to speak prematurely, which is a video I do have coming up hopefully this month, if I can tape and edit, get my YouTube schedule back on track. But, I'm not going to dive in. But needless to say, He's put that in my heart to do. And so it could be like, well, dang, like, I don't even know where to begin, plus the life group, plus YouTube, plus all this other stuff, my son's YouTube and all these things. And it's just like, where do I even begin? Plus I'm in the midst of making a career shift, not like a crazy career shift, but where I'm slightly changing how I work, just to provide me with a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess being a little more centered. Oh, I'm a preach, sis. I'm a preach. And so it's a lot of transition going on. I'm in the middle of a lot of change. And you know how it is too when you're pregnant, because like I said, I'm kind of going to be using the metaphor that my church has been using, because that's what really made all this click for me. So hopefully it helps y'all too and makes it click for you as well. But when you're pregnant, it's the same thing. You're going through these changes, a lot of preparation. You can see the end. I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to have this baby. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But it's the in between. Like, okay, well, I don't know what the second trimester is going to look like. I don't know what the third trimester is going to look like. I don't know what labor is going to look like. I don't know all these things. I'm just going week by week, day by day, and taking it as it comes. Hey, Alicia, girl, you up late tonight. But I'm glad you're here. The transition, exactly. That's where we tap out, because the idea hits us, we get excited, and we're like, yeah, God, woo, we're going to conquer it. And you start doing your research, you start gathering things together, you start reaching out to whoever you need to reach out to, whether it's to get a space to do what you need to do, whether it's to get a collaborator, whether it's to get financial resources, whatever. And then something happens. Maybe you apply for a business grant or something and you don't get it. Or maybe if you need a space, like if you're looking for a studio space and you found one you really like, you get outbidded and someone else gets it. Or, maybe you start the YouTube channel and it's not as easy as you thought, because this story is not as easy as it looks. Like, even with me sporadically doing live streams, it's still not as easy as it looks, but it's just like something happens. And then it's like the excitement that you had at the beginning when God gave you that idea starts to be quenched and quenched and quenched. And then you're like, oh man, maybe it's just not for me. But really what you're going through are pregnancy growth, and then eventually when your dream is about to come to fruition, which is the baby, that's the labor pains. But you're really just going through the pregnancy pains, pregnancy transition, pregnancy growth through the process. But you start to think, maybe it's not for me. Girl, I'm working on a thumbnail. Oh, that's what. Because I'm like, one thing I know you don't play about is that sleep. And I'm not mad at it, because I'm sleep deprived as we speak. But it's the caffeine that's helping me, But just regular stuff starts to happen. And so you start to think, you're thinking it's something wrong with you, or you're thinking like, oh, this dream, maybe I heard God wrong. Maybe it's not what He really wants me to do. Maybe I need to be doing something else. But He's saying, no, like, this is a part of the process, because in the pain is where you're going to be pruned. In the pain is where I'm going to teach you certain things. Just today, like I said, before y'all came in here, I got a letter in the mail for something that I had applied for that I got denied. And honestly, I wasn't too upset. I mean, my mom was kind of like, dang, but for me, I've learned to not attach myself to too many things, if anything at all, because a lot of what might come easy for other people never comes easy for, like, I never get anything easy. So if y'all ever see me with anything, know I got it out the mud, the depths of the mud. Okay. I had to go through hell and back to get that thing. And nothing ever comes easy for me, ever. I always have to take a long way around, even if everyone else around me gets a shortcut. And so when you're going through those situations, you can start to think it's either think, this isn't for me or whatever, because people make it seem like if it's a God ordained idea that everything's just going to flow. But the enemy is not going to let you just, ease on down the road into purpose and promise. Like, you're gonna have some opposition, like, and honestly, this is something my church reminded me of, because I knew this. What they reminded me of, it's like, you should be an expectation. When you see that like the opposition is increasing in your life or the spiritual warfare is increasing in your life, by no means of your own. This isn't like you made a decision that wasn't wise and you're dealing with the consequences. Not like that, but like you're literally doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it's like just obstacle after obstacle, warfare after warfare, whatever, the thoughts in your mind start to set in, the doubt, the fear, etc. When those things start to increase, you should be an expectation like, I'm getting closer to whatever it is that God has for me or where he wants me to go, because the enemy is not going to up the ante if you're off target, but he doesn't want you to get into purpose, because your purpose doesn't only create breakthroughs for you or whatever God has for you, because this isn't just about purpose, but just period, whatever God has for you, it's not just for breakthroughs for you, but it's going to help other people, so by me, for instance, creating that nonprofit, that honestly, that's not really going to help me. That's honestly for other people, but it's something that I'm passionate about because I've been there in that experience that I want to have the nonprofit cater towards. And so it's a really, really like close to my heart. It's been close to my heart for many, many years now. And so when I'm starting to build that thing, you think the enemy's not going to throw opposition my way, because that's something that's going to change a community. That's something that's going to impact people in a way that's very tangible. And so you have to have the mindset and the fortitude to understand that the opposition is going to come. When you are going through hell and back, when you're having to grind and scrape and work hard for what you want, don't complain about it. I know it's easier said than done, because trust me, just this week I was like, God, just send me my wealthy husband already. Like, I'm tired of working hard, but I get it. But try not to look at everything from like a glass half empty standpoint. Try to look at it deeper, because we know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Everything that we see in the physical has a spiritual connection to it. And so you have to understand, when you're going through things, when you're going through the fire, the trials, you're getting closer. But if you let up and you allow the thoughts of negativity, of fear, of doubt, of confusion, of jealousy, or whatever to overcome your mind, then you're not going to be in the mind space that you need to be in to get where you really need to get to, because everything starts in your mind. If you already think I'm not going to get this done, you already haven't gotten it done, because your mind has already told you it's not going to happen for me. But if you can just believe, like honestly have just, like the Bible says, a mustard seed faith. If you can just have that much unshakable faith, there ain't got to be a lot. A mustard seed is very small, okay? So if you can just have that much and it's unbreakable, a lot of things can happen. God can do a lot with your faith. If you just believe that it can happen for you and you're relentless about that belief, he can work with that. But if you are sitting here like, I don't know, it's just kind of like I'm not gonna beat you upside the head and be like, believe, like you have to believe it. You really do. And so it's cute to say we're waiting on God, but he's waiting on you. And movement is essential to progress in the journey. So stop overanalyzing, stop comparing, because think about it too. Like, again, those of us who are moms understand this, but when you're pregnant, you're encouraged to still stay active. That's not a time for you to be like, I'm pregnant, I'm just going to sit on the couch and just chill, because your pregnancy, your labor is definitely going to be harder if you have not been physically active at all during your pregnancy. I'm not saying you got to be out here pumping iron, doing HIIT workouts in the gym, but you should be walking, you should be active, you should be moving through that pregnancy physically and, obviously, emotionally and etc., so that when the time comes to birth the baby, your cervix and all those other things are already like starting to open up, and it's just gonna make the flow easier. Obviously, pregnancy is very complex, so there's a lot that goes into this, but just in general, barring any other health issues or whatever, it's gonna make it easier for you to push the baby out if you were active during your pregnancy, walking, whatever. And this is why a lot of times too, women who are looking to get pregnant start changing their regimen before they even get pregnant, because all of that matters. Your health beforehand, how you take care of yourself now, like all those things matter. It really does impact you. And so you need to be moving, because that's essential for you to get to the destination. You can't get from A to B if you're just sitting still. So keep moving, keep going forward. Point number 2, you are overwhelmed. Okay. So like I said earlier, you're multi-talented, multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate, as they say. You don't know what to do and in what order. Like right now, I'm in that boat right now. I already told y'all like 3 different things I want to do. And so it's like, what do I do? Because you got to focus in on something. Like, I'm not one of those people that feels like you can only do one business and in order to be successful, and then you do like everything in a linear way. I truly do believe that you can work on multiple things at the same time, but something's going to have to take precedence. something's going to have to be the main kind of like, okay, this is where I'm putting majority of my energy, and then the other things get whatever you can give it in that season. And so you have to figure out which one is it that I'm going to focus on. And for me, I'm very purpose driven. I think that when we focus on whatever God wants us to do in that season, again, it's not going to be easy peasy. You're not just going to be easing on down the road, no obstacles and this and that, the third. But there's going to be a certain level of favor and grace attached to that. So you're going to have a little bit more grit towards it. You're going to have a little bit more tenacity and patience with it. Things are going to happen in such a way where it's like, only God probably could have orchestrated this, like it's going to have a certain level of favor and grace to it. And so a couple months ago, I was scrolling Facebook and I found this meme. I should have screenshotted it. And honestly, I had planned to look for it for tonight, but this week has been crazy. Like I said, tomorrow's my sister's birthday. So I'm just trying to get everything done. Like I'm hanging on by a wing and a prayer right now. I'm hanging on by a wing and a prayer. And I still got stuff to do after this live stream. But basically the gist of it was like how to differentiate between a God idea and a good idea. So because oftentimes we get a lot of ideas in our minds. We're like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. But a good idea can end up being a distraction away from what you ultimately need to be doing in this season. And you don't even realize it. A good thing can become a bad thing if you're not careful. And it can honestly lead you off course if you're not careful. And so the meme said something to the effect of like, if it's a God idea, long after the I guess excitement, the initial excitement or whatever wanes off, you'll still have like a burden to do it. Like you can't get away from that burden to do it. It's something's going to keep drawing you back. And I could be completely like messing this up, but I feel like it was something along those lines. I'm gonna look for it after this and put it up in my community tab so y'all can see, screenshot it and put it up. But and then it said like a good idea you can tell the difference because a good idea might come to you, but you don't feel like a burden to do it. So like when the excitement hits and stuff, you do it maybe, and then a bump in the road comes and you're just kind of like, like you don't have a problem kind of letting it go. But I agree. One thing I know for me is that especially when it feels like all my ideas are urgent, like everything needs to be done like right now. There are a couple of things that I think about when I determine what I should focus on and what more than likely is what God wants me to do. And so I want to share some of those points with y'all real quick. The first thing I think about is what aligns with my purpose. So for this to even make sense, you got to have an idea of what your purpose is. Do you even know why God created you? Do you even know why he put you on this earth? All of us were created for a reason, obviously to honor God with our lives, serve God, all that. But beyond that, we all have a reason why he created us, a unique reason why he put us on this earth in this day, in this age, in this time, in this year, in this generation. And you have to figure that out. Now, I don't want you to think of that and be like, oh my goodness, like it's this big thing I got to figure out. If I don't figure it out, like my whole life's going to be ruined. Purpose can look different in different seasons, but it's always going to kind of have a commonality between it. So no matter what I was doing in life, for instance, career-wise, my jobs always involved some sort of community building, some sort of teaching / shepherding. And the difference between the two is basically teaching is like giving you the information, whereas shepherding is like holding your hand through the process with the information I've given you. So a teacher might tell you like, in order to fold a fitted sheet, do X, Y, Z. A shepherd will say, okay, now that the teacher has told you to do X, Y, Z, I'm going to stand here with you and watch you practice it until you get it down pat. Like, so I'm both. I have the gift of teaching and shepherding along with other prophetic and just like spiritual gifts or whatever. But, you have to know your purpose. So you're going to have to spend some time kind of figuring out like, what did God create me for? What are the skills or the burdens in my heart or whatever that I feel like God wants me to use? So what aligns with that? Once you figure that out, which one of my ideas align with that in this season the most? Because they all might align with it, but which one aligns with it the most? The second thing I think about is what has God made provision for? And so a lot of times it's not going to come super easy all the time, but God will kind of have like a ram in the bush or like some sort of provision. So maybe it's someone willing to fund you with that idea. Maybe it's, like a business opportunity coming up where you can be a collaborator or something along with that idea. There's some sort of provision that's showing like, okay, you should go ahead and do this. Like, you should go ahead and go to this place. You should go ahead and explore this, and when you see that provision, it's a good idea. Another way to think about it too is like, where has it dried up? So I was telling someone this week, like, a good indication that it might be time to leave your area is when opportunities have dried up. Like, literally, you're in a drought. Every time you turn around, it's closed door, closed door, closed door, closed opportunity. That's a good sign that maybe it's time for you to move, because the well has dried up. You're in a drought. It's time to go somewhere else, And we saw that even in the Bible a lot of times when, like Jacob or Abraham or these people would hit a drought or some sort of just dry season. God would be like, okay, pick up and go here, pick up and go there. So, think about that. Like, what has God made provisions for? Like, where is he showing that I'm providing for you? He always reveals the resources, but we can only find them if we stay on the journey. Exactly. You got to keep moving. You got to keep walking forward. Another thing to think about is, what has God confirmed? So confirmation is a little different than provision, which provision can be a sign of confirmation. But confirmation to me is like God telling you, yes, you heard correctly. Like, it can be repetitive. It could be something you hear over and over. It could be people asking you the same thing over and over. Like, for instance, maybe you had a burden to do a book or something. And maybe you shared it with people, or maybe you didn't, but for some reason people keep coming up to you and they're like, I feel like you should write a book. Man, that'll make a good book idea. When are you going to write that book? Have you started that book? Like, it just keeps coming up. Or even recently, like I said, for me, I'm starting this community life group and meetup group. And I say meetup life group because we will be meeting up and doing things, but because it's not just regulated to women in Atlanta, it will be a life group where, like, it's a community, nationwide community. We can lean on each other and stuff like that. That's part of the end goal and the end vision. And so, as you guys know, when I moved to Atlanta, I entered a very lonely season. And honestly, the last few chapters of Back Home are about to be closed. Some loose ends that are kind of up in the air, some old relationships that need to end, and things like that. I'm in the midst of those ending. And so moving down here was very lonely. I lost a lot of friends on the journey here. A lot of family turned their back on me. And then, of course, we were in a pandemic. And I mean, who wasn't going through it in one way or the other? And so I was just extremely lonely. And the thing is, like, when you're a single woman or a single mom, because as a single mom, you're still a woman in the church, it can be a very awkward space to be in, because I feel like we've come a far way in the church, from where we used to be like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But by and large, the church still very much caters to families, the nuclear family, husband, wife, children, etc. And so it can be weird to find your space, even if they do have singles events, even if they do have singles ministries. It's honestly just a little weird. It's a little odd. Like, I was talking with my mom about this earlier. Like, there's so many people in the church that want to be married and want to date and stuff, but nobody wants to make the first move because nobody wants to look loose and thirsty and desperate. And so it's just a weird space to be in. And then being a single mom has its own level of weirdness, because it's like, you're single, but you're not single like the singles with no kids. So you still got some responsibilities that tie you down and make you unavailable, but you don't have a husband to tend to. So, it's like weird. Like, you can relate to the moms that are married in a way, but you can relate to the singles in a way. It's just a weird space. And so, needless to say, I was in this lonely season. Didn't know anybody down here. I was like, man, this sucks. And Atlanta is one of those cities that will chew you up and spit you out. Like, if you've never experienced loneliness and you want to give it a swing, you want to take a ride around the block and the lonely wheel, go ahead and move to Atlanta for a year. And I guarantee you're going to be like, wow, I've never felt loneliness like this before. Like, it's crazy. It's like you're talking to people, but you're still lonely. It's just a very weird dichotomy and whatever. And so, mind you, this community group was prophesied to me June of 2020. I ran from it because I was like, oh no, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to be running nobody's life group, nobody's, meeting. Like, I don't want to be planning no trips, no events. I don't want to be doing all that. I just want to show up and, it's already in place and I can just volunteer, whatever. But the woman that prophesied to me was like, no, like, it's going to be big. You're going to try to shut the door on it and it's just not going to, it's not going to work. Like, you're going to run from this and you're going to end up coming back. And here I am coming back to it. And so this year it finally hit me, because I had dated some guys, didn't pan out, had some friendships, didn't pan out. And here I am back at the drawing board. And so God kept bringing women to me late last year, I would say December, but more so January of this year, to date, like even as we speak, it's women on TikTok, women on Instagram before I went on my IG hiatus, women that meet me on YouTube, women that I meet on the streets, women that I'm literally meeting in my everyday life who are in the same boat as me, who are Christian single women or Christian, and they're like, oh my goodness, like I'm so lonely. I need a sisterhood. I don't have any friends. I even talked about this on my TikTok, which those of you who follow me on TikTok, if you want to, at official Rondelle Martin on there too. Haven't posted in a little over 2 weeks, I think, but I'm not on a hiatus from there. I just haven't been in my creative flow to tape a TikTok. But, you know, needless to say, I shared it on there, and I was just like, I've always had this weird dichotomy in my life where like people are drawn to me naturally. I really, like when I was younger, I really didn't like people. Now I'm alright about people. I won't say like I love people, but like you know, I really do love being by myself. It's weird, but I'm an extrovert. I'm an ambivert. I'm just weird, y'all. I'm very bizarre. I'm not easy to figure out, but people are naturally drawn to me. Doesn't matter where I go, people are naturally drawn to me in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a sense of mysteriousness or whatever. But at the same time, I'm always by myself. Like if I'm not with family, I'm a lone wolf. And so I shared it on my TikTok because I'm just like, I'm tired of like dealing with this. And, you know, but at the same time, I realized that like this is God's protection and it's a blessing to be in solitude and stuff. And that TikTok went viral. Like it wasn't one of those things where I was like, ooh, this finna blow up. I was just sharing my heart, just shared it, put a little background music on very low volume so you can't hear it. And that was that. I put it up, went to bed, woke up the next morning, thousands of plays, hundreds of likes, if not almost 1,000 likes at this point. I haven't checked. Tons of shares, saves, like hundreds of comments, women just saying like, oh my goodness, I relate so much to this. I'm in the same boat. This, that, the third, woo, woo, woo. And so for me, that was confirmation. Like that's an example of what confirmation looks like. When God keeps saying, like, showing you the same thing, saying the same thing. When people reiterate, like, yes, that's what I need. You know, he keeps bringing people in my life that are like actively looking for friends and things like that. And so I'm just like, okay, God, like, I hear you. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll do what I need to do for this group and things like that and just start it. Because this is also another word too. Stop trying to be so unique that you don't get started. Because that's another problem too. Some of y'all are not waiting on God. You're just spinning your wheels trying to reinvent the wheel. We're all doing the same thing. Like there's nothing new under the sun. You are the difference. Your juice, your sauce, your personality, how you speak, your humor, you're the difference. You don't have to try to come up with this super crazy, unique thing. It's actually kind of smart to benchmark and see what people are already doing and what's successful and add your spin to it. Because if people are already doing it and they're successful, that lets you know there's a market for that thing. If people ain't doing it, then it's a risk. I mean, you might try it and you might work for you, but there's nothing to benchmark against. So if you're willing to take the risk and you got that kind of time and money, by all means, sis, bro, whatever, do what you got to do. But I'm just saying, like, stop looking at other people doing what they're doing. It's like, someone's already doing it. Okay, are they successful at it? Perfect. That means that there's a market for it. So now I just got to come in and add my spin, add my twist, my flavor, my sauce, and I'll be successful. Like, you know, so don't like try to do too much, because trust me, I'm someone who likes to stand out. I'm someone who likes to be unique. And I had to learn this the hard way over the years, being self-employed and just different business ventures I've done, where it's like you are so hell bent on being this super unique entity. It's like you don't even get started because like you trying to be so unique, you can't even start. Like just start. It's better for you to, like, for instance, I remember I took this course, this boot camp. It was for YouTube, but honestly, a lot of these principles work for regular business too. And it was like, you know, coming up with the group name. I mean, not group name, the channel name for your YouTube. And he was like, you know, it's better for you to just come up with a name that's like basic and predictable and like quote unquote boring than to try to be so unique that people don't know like what you're talking about. You know, like it's better for you to be like the Christian Girl podcast, for instance, than to try to be like, you know, Blue Skies, like what? Like just be blunt, plain, crystal clear. Don't try to get caught up in being unique that you miss the target. And so I just wanted to say that. But yeah, that's what confirmation looks like. When it keeps coming back around, you try to run for it. Try to run from it. It keeps coming back around. People keep saying it. God keeps bringing people to you that will be your target audience. Okay, like I said, he's been bringing women that fit my target audience persona over and over and over and over again. And I'm just like, okay, God, I hear you. So confirmation. The next thing you want to think about, and then I'll repeat all of this, is what idea has God provided guidance and mentorship for? So when you're doing business, it's important for you to have some sort of mentorship guide, whatever. It doesn't have to be someone that you actually sit across from the table and say, hey, be my mentor, but it could be someone who maybe has done what you're wanting to do, or is doing what you want to do, and you can just kind of watch what they're doing, glean ideas from them. I say, for me personally, be careful how much you watch them, only because, especially in the creative space, you don't want to lose your creative juices. It depends on how you are. For me, I know if I watch too much, like if I benchmark too much, I start to lose my flair. I start to lose my juice. So I just got to glance very quickly. And then I personally have to connect with God, because God is my consultant. Like, God is the one, he's my master consultant. Let me say that, because I do pay for courses and pay for consulting that I can afford and things like that. That's another thing. Don't be so cheap that you don't invest in your dream, because I'm sorry. I know times is hard, but find a way to invest in your dreams some way, somehow. And if that means that you have to pay for a course, if that means you got to pay for a class, whatever, there are so many resources out here within different price ranges. You can find something within your budget. Don't use paying for something as a crutch or a crippling effect, because when the shoe is on the other foot and you want someone to pay for your stuff, you don't want people to be saying that. You don't want people to be like, oh my goodness, it's so expensive, but you ain't never paid a dime for nobody's nothing. So, pay it forward. Is your dream worth it to you? Honestly, I would ask you that. Is your dream worth it to you? Because these are all beliefs and mindset blocks that I personally am still working through. I'm not even perfect at it. I have to check myself sometimes and say, okay, can I really not afford it, or can I sacrifice something to pay for this? Now, know your budget. Okay. I'm not saying go and pay for a $20,000 course, because some people be bugging out. There's no reason to pay all of that. If I'm paying that, I need a degree and a graduation service and some more stuff. That's just me personally. I mean, some people got it like that to pay for that. By all means, I'm not going to knock no one's hustle. Do what you do. And if you can do it successfully, get it, sis. Okay. But I know for me, that's not my ministry and that's not my target audience. So it won't work for me. But I have paid, $40, $100, $200, whatever I can afford in that season. But I find resources that fit my budget. I've attended very cheap webinars or free cheap seminars, or free webinars. There's always something. So don't use funding your dream as a crutch either, or the lack of wanting to, because a lot of times we want stuff for free or cheap, but we want people to pay us. What goes around comes around. Okay. So you got to be willing to fight. Is it worth it to you? Honestly, think about it. Is your business, is your dream worth it to you? If it is, you're going to pay for it. If you have a baby, you're not going to be like, oh, they need to eat. I'm not going to go buy groceries because I don't want to pay for it. If we're using that metaphor, just pay for your dream. Pay for it. Find something within your budget. Find a mentor. If you're at the stage where you can afford an ongoing coach, invest in a coach or whatever, or a consultant to come in, tell you. The difference between the two, by the way, a coach is going to more so empower you to come up with your own solutions and stuff. They might give you some strategies here or there and once in a blue moon, but a consultant is going to give you the blueprint. They're going to be like, do this, do that, go here, go there, click this, that. They're actually planning it for you. So if you want someone to actually map it out with you, get a consultant. If you want someone that's just going to be more of accountability, keep you on your toes, inspire you, and give you some insight or help you kind of see it from the outside, looking in, kind of, get a coach. So I just wanted to say that. If you want someone who is free, get a mentor, just figure it out. Now, some mentors do charge. I say, look at what they're offering. I wouldn't say write off a paid mentor altogether, but just look at what they're offering. Look at what they're willing to do. Look at how long they're willing to work with you. Ask the questions, use your dollar wisely. But make sure, look for who God has provided as far as giving you guidance and mentorship. Which, speaking of which, if you want someone to help you map out your vision, I do offer creative consulting. You didn't think I was going to say that point and not pitch my services, but I have helped people with their brands. I've helped Symphony Music Group create her music consulting firm, and just helping creative artists and musicians birth their musical vision. I helped her start her brand for that. I'm working with 8 Music Productions, who is a sound engineer, building his brand. Auntie Jody on YouTube. modern day makeup mommy. She has two branches, coaching and then like the makeup branch. I helped her create both of those, or not create it, but like really streamline it and make it make sense and brand it and all that. So I've worked with quite a few people. So if you need someone to just sit with you and actually give you tangible, because I don't give fluff. When you leave a meeting with me, you're gonna get the tangibles. You're gonna get a plan. I'm gonna be like, this is what you need to do, woo, 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 whatever. Then click the link below and book a creative consultation call. I will let you know that come September, I won't be taking any more clients for the foreseeable future, so I can focus on these other plans that God has me doing, because I do spend a lot of time with my clients and I don't want to rush them through their process, so but I also don't want to overwhelm myself to where I can't do what I need to do, because then I'm gonna have to take my own advice that I'm saying right now. So just to repeat those things to help you kind of figure out like, okay, what does God want me to work on in this season? So you can master the overwhelm that you're feeling. What aligns with your purpose? So figure out your purpose if you don't know it yet. And some great ways to start is to think about like, what are you burdened by? What issues in the world are you burdened by? What can you talk about or work on all day, whether you get paid or not, you never get tired of it? What makes you just like, no matter what, you just always come back around to it? Like, those are some good ways. And then what are your gifts? Like I said, I have the gift of shepherding and teaching as far as like administrative type gifts, but I also have the gift of like word of knowledge. I would say some exhortation in there as well, hospitality, like a bunch of different things. So just explore those. There are spiritual gifts tests you could take. You could ask people like, what do you see in me? Sometimes people see things in you that you don't know. Plug, period. Okay. And that's another thing too. Plug your stuff, like plug it. So what aligns with my purpose? What has God made provision for? Is he providing resources for you? Is there funding available? Are there people willing to come alongside and to work with you? Like, look at that. What has God confirmed? What are the themes that keep coming back around? No matter how much you try to hide from it, no matter how much you try to run, no matter how much you try to turn your back, what keeps coming back to you? There's something there waiting for you. So explore that. Like, even if you're not very crazy about it, like sometimes God wants you to do something, you're like, really, God? But I want to focus on this over here. But the breakthrough is attached to that thing where you're like, and you just need that breakthrough. And then you could take that and just keep the ball rolling and work on the thing that you really want to work on. And what idea has God provided guidance or mentorship for? And there's always a resource. Pay the money, sis. Pay the money. Look in your budget, find something to do that can help you grow. And get in the presence of God for clarity and listen to him speak. Like I said, do the benchmarking, compare and see what people are doing. But I know if you're like me, you got to kind of be tucked away so that you can like recenter yourself, and that's when all the ideas flow. If you're someone that needs to be like centered and in solitude, don't over benchmark. I won't say don't benchmark at all, because you do need to know like what's working out there, what's in demand, what are your competitors, quote unquote, doing. But don't overkill. Like, just look at maybe one or two people, look at what they're doing enough to get an idea, and then go in your prayer closet, go in your quiet space, your secret place, and pray and listen. So an exercise that my church did that helped me kind of learn how to listen to God, because he's always talking to us, but we don't allow space for him to be heard, because we fill our space with music, with TV, with phone calls, with texts, with social media, so we're always blocking out the noise. It's like if someone's sitting next to you trying to have a conversation and you got those earphones in, the beats, and you're just like, yeah, this is my song, get it. And they're like, yeah, but did you hear me? Did you, you're not going to hear them. They're spitting gems, but you're too busy listening to Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, so you can't hear what they're saying. So what my church did that kind of helped me like strengthen this, and I've been doing it ever since, and it's just getting stronger, is to really just sit in silence. Like, I know for some people silence is creepy. It's like, ooh, it's too quiet, but honestly, I would suggest, because I've done this all hours of the day, and the best time for me is late night, early morning, like that, because I'm up late. So if you're not up late, this might not work for you. You might have to do it in the morning, like early morning, but like that, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. time, that's good for me. If you're like an all-nighter like me, maybe you work the night shift or something and you get off at like a weird time, I would suggest doing it at that time. If you're someone who works like a 9 to 5, or you get up like early or whatever, try getting up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and just like set aside 30 minutes. The first time or 2 or 3 or 4, Trust me, you probably gonna fall asleep, and that's okay, because I've gotten up that early before, and I'm like, I'm gonna pray, and I'm like, dear God, thank you for, and I'm just like knocked out, and it's okay. Like practice makes perfect. Just keep doing it. Eventually, you'll find that your body naturally gets up, and you look forward to those times. Also, another key thing to pay attention to is like sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, why am I waking up at 4 a.m. randomly? God wants you to pray. Like I know the old folks say that, but honestly, like I started doing that. Like when I would wake up those random times, I'd be like, let me just pray real quick. And it really did help me get revelation, because sometimes things hit you at the most random times, in the middle of the night, in the shower, at the gas station. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. So keep a running list in your phone. That's something I do, and jot it down the minute you get it. Like the minute it hits your brain, because if you like me, and you even wait 5-10 minutes, it might get foggy. You might lose it. And it's just like, oh no, it was a great idea. That happened to me the other day. I got this bomb idea, y'all. I was in the store and it hit me. And I was like, ooh, that's a good idea. I was like, as soon as I get this item, I'm going to jot it down. Got the item, forgot it. And I know that thing was good. I know it was good. And it just, I lost it. So you gotta jot it down right then and there. I definitely fall asleep if it's early. I'm more of a night person as well. Me too. Like night is, but I'd rather stay up till 1, 2 and just like get my quiet time. The house is still. And honestly, because we have a garage, so sometimes like if I'm just coming in at like 1 a.m., I'll just sit in the car and I'll do my prayers and all that kind of stuff. And it's something about a tight space. Because I know when we moved here and we were homeless, I used to go in the bathroom of the hotel or motel room we were in, and I used to just sit and like do my devotional and stuff in the bathroom. And something about being in the bathroom with the door closed, and like thoughts hit different in there. The shower, yes, the shower is my thinking place for real. If I wait too long after I get out the shower, I forget. Yes, like there's been times, because I have a little ledge in our shower that we're using, that I put my phone up on to listen to music, or sometimes I'll straight be watching like a movie while I'm taking a shower, and I'll like dry my hand real quick on my towel hanging on the side, and I'll jot down an idea. I'll be like hand out the shower, like, let me jot this down so I don't forget, because my brain is like, sometimes those ideas hit quick. Also dreams, y'all, because I've had really good ideas hit me in dreams, and I wake up, and if I linger too much after I wake up, I forget. That happened to me recently as well. So when you get those dreams, because God is always talking to us, and he imparts wisdom to us in dreams, in random moments, in visions, in our quiet time. And so when it hits you, jot it down, even if it's something random. Like sometimes you might get bits and pieces. So God might show you an image of one thing. Like, he might show you an image of you in the kitchen mixing a mixture in a bowl, and you're like, what in the world? But you jot that down, and then he shows you, a vision of you like putting cakes in a box or something. You're like, what? And then whole time he's trying to tell you you're gonna start a baking business or something, but he gives it to you in bits and pieces. So just jot it, even if it's bizarre, jot it down. But anyways, my church, like I said, they had us one of the young adult services sit in silence for 8 minutes, all of us in the sanctuary, just sitting in silence. And they were like, whatever you got to do, if you got to like sit against the wall, if you got to get on your knees and kneel down, if you got to close your eyes, lay down, whatever, do what you got to do, get in the posture that you need to get into, and just sit in silence. Clear your mind, like literally force yourself to clear your mind, get rid of all the thoughts, and just sit in silence and see like what thoughts enter your mind after you clear your thoughts and you center yourself. Do you think of music? Does a particular song come in your mind? Because there might be a phrase in that song that God's trying to have you think of to lead you in the right direction. Do you hear certain words repeating over and over in your mind that could be leading you in the right direction of where God wants you to go? Do you hear actual thoughts, actual sentiments? Like whatever you hear, they were like, after the 8 minutes, jot it down. And for me, I thought about a lot of different things. It's in my notebook over there, which I'm too lazy to get up and get. But needless to say, one of the thoughts that was very prevalent to me was, well, it's two. Don't do things for applause in this season, and be careful what you say, who you say it to, and when you say it. So there might be people that you can say one bit of something to, and then there's another set of people that you can say something else to, but you can't tell group B what you told group A, and you have to be careful when you say it, because the timeliness of what I'm doing in your life is important. Everybody can't be privy to it. They can't get the details, the nitty gritty, all that. Like, there's got to be something that's tucked away. Give them just what they need to know, but that's it. Those are the two thoughts that step in my mind over and over and over, like no matter what. I thought of music too. I actually had melodies playing in my mind, but I also am a very like musical type person, so I wasn't surprised by that. And I did have certain words and just other thoughts too, but those are the two that was like very prevalent in that 8 minute silence where it was like, do not do this, do not do that. And so, actually sit and listen. You don't have to, if you want to start timing yourself at first, maybe you like, okay, I'll sit in silence for 5 minutes. Because 8 minutes felt kind of long. I'm not even going to hold y'all. 8 minutes was like, dang, like we still in silence? And it's like, I was like, dang, like 8 minutes is kind of long when you just sitting and quiet. I was like, okay, are we done yet? Because I think I got the revelation that I needed. Did y'all get it? Yeah. But then over time, you'll find that you can just sit in silence more and more. And it's the same thing with prayer. When I first started praying, like getting serious about my prayer life, I struggled to say a 5-minute prayer. I was like, whoo, I know I prayed for about 20 minutes. And I look at the clock and it's like, dang, that was only 5 minutes. Like that felt like forever, But now I could pray for 30, 40 minutes and still have room to keep going. And not every day is like that. Not every day is this big oracle experience with God. Some days it's like, God, you know what it is, like, what I need help with, what it is, big guy, but I just don't have it in me to say it. But other days I be going in. And I still have room to go, but I have to stop myself because I got to, get to work or whatever the case may be. So just practice sitting in silence, cut out the noise. But something about that late night, early morning hits different because the house is naturally quiet. The earth is quiet. Traffic isn't all loud and stuff, unless you live in New York, in which case, I don't know what to tell you, but most of us here don't live in New York. So it's like, the traffic has died down. Depending on where you live, you might even hear nature. Where I live, it's like the outskirts of Atlanta, so we got a lot of nature here. I could hear the crickets chirping. I could hear frogs. I could hear the occasional, just wildlife. Coyote, I guess, or something. I know we have coyotes, I think, around here, but whatever. I hear different things. I might hear the train, because the train tracks pass, not like right in my neighborhood, but close enough in the neighboring town where I could hear it. And it's just like a very peaceful setting. In the morning, I hear the birds chirping. I might see a deer out in the yard, before before the sun fully rises. It's just a peaceful environment. So meet God in those quiet moments. And like I said, being in the garage is even more intense because it's extremely silent. Like I could hear, a pin drop. I could hear the water in the toilet. Like that's that's how quiet it is. So get in a very quiet space. I prefer, like I said, late night, early morning, and just be still. If you got to time yourself to start, time yourself. And then when you're done in that silence, when the timer stops, jot down everything that you thought about. But you got to be intentional about clearing your mind, because otherwise you'll be sitting in silence and it'll just be like, did I turn off the fire on the stove? What am I going to cook for dinner? Man, I got to call this person. No, you need to hear God. This is not a time for you to be talking to God and telling him what you want to say. This is not a time for you to be in your mind. It's the time for you to practice like clearing your mind, clearing your thoughts, centering yourself in your spirit and your soul so you can hear from God, because God is the best consultant. I'm telling y'all, he is the best consultant. Even when I'm consulting people, I pray over their business. Even in my quiet time, I pray over their business. I lift them up and I'm like, God, like give them phenomenal ideas, help them out, do whatever you need to do. I literally uplift everybody, even if I'm not consulting you, whoever is just connected to me, you're always in my prayers, because it's like sometimes God imparts things to you that you might have to impart to someone else too. And that's another reason why you want to practice that silent time with God, because he might be like, okay, well, I need you to tell this person something, or I need you to do this for that person or whatever. So just practice it. And then the last thing, and I'll be you guys is here, is what can you cut out of your life to be less overwhelmed? So honestly, we create overwhelm for ourselves. And being multi-passionate and multi-skilled and stuff, I can understand it, because it's like there's so much inside of you, you just want to go ahead and get it out. But sometimes you got to table something. Like sometimes you got to be like, all right, like this is too much. Like, like I'm trying to do it all. I'm biting off more than I could chew. Ain't nothing really going to progress. I mean, nothing's really progressing at the level that I needed to. What can I say? I'm going to put this to the back burner for right now. Doesn't mean you can't do it at all, but maybe for this season, you just need to table that for right now. Maybe it's not even what you're doing in your career or your business, attached to your purpose and dreams, but maybe it's other stuff. Maybe it's hobbies. Like I realized I got to give myself a limit for hanging out, because now that I'm going to this church and I'm meeting people, and me and Alicia, we try to hang out from time to time or whatever. I'm like, with all the stuff that's coming up when Christians started homeschool co-op and me having to get a car and all that, like, sis can't really hang like that. Like, I gotta hang maybe once a week, and it's gotta be budget friendly. Like, even if it's free, it's like I gotta think about the timing of the event, because it might be at a time where, like, I gotta work. Like, someone from the church had invited me to go somewhere recently, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna have to pass, because the event was free, just like the event you sent me earlier, Alicia. But I was like, this is prime time for me to work, and when I don't work, I end up missing out, and then I'm stressed, and then I'm more overwhelmed. So it's like a ripple effect. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to sit this one out. So this is a season of a lot of no's for me. It's like, yeah, I can't, and then honestly, if I do have the time, like, I'm just so tired, because it's like the final hoorah, just trying to get Christian ready for school. So, I'm just like, there's just so much that I'm like having to do, that I'm like, yeah, even if I have the time, I might not have the energy to make it to that event. Like, I gotta sleep, you're like, I'm barely getting sleep these nights. And I know it's just what I gotta endure for another few weeks to get everything set up. But who child, like, it's serious, it's really serious out here. So think about some things you could cut out of your schedule to cut down the overwhelm. And honestly, like I said, sometimes good things can become bad. So, like, even when you look at the Bible, in the book of most of the Old Testament books, Genesis through Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, First and Second Kings, all those books, as an Israelite, to, like, leaving Egypt, going to the Promised Land, and going back and forth between serving God and serving idols and stuff like that. Even when they served God, it was like they got to a point where their heart wasn't really in it. Like, they were just doing it just to do it, and they were just filling their time up, basically just to fill it up. And so they were going to the temple and worshiping. They were offering sacrifices. They were worshiping God. And, when like rain would come, they would praise God and be like, yes, like, this or this happened, woohoo. And it's like, no, like, and that wasn't a reward. It's like, honestly, you're doing it for your sake, to say that I'm doing it. Like, yes, look at me, I'm on my grind, look at all my business activities I got going on, whoop, whoop, whoop. But your heart isn't in it. This is not what I want you to do in this season. So you're doing it for your glory, but you're not doing it for my glory. And that's why it's not progressing the way that it should progress, because it's not the season for that right now. Like, you need to be focused over here, but you're trying to do all this other stuff. So it's like, don't just do stuff just to do it. Don't just fill your schedule just to do it, because hustle culture will have you out here feeling like you got to do everything under the sun, but you got to get it done today. And don't get me wrong, no one's coming to save you. So at the end of the day, and I know that came off real cold, but it's the truth. Like, no one's coming to save you. Like, so be passionate enough about your dream, about your goals. Hey, Desiree, I didn't even see you come in, sis. Yes, I've had to cut people and things out of my life that weren't adding value. Exactly, And so in this season, as I'm entering everything new church, new friends, new everything, like new, job responsibilities, new schedule, just new. A lot of the old obviously is being cut out. And so I've had to come to grips with a lot of different things. Hey, Michelle, how long have you been live? Since 9 p.m. I'm actually wrapping up, but my bad, girl. I thought you were in here this whole time. My job. No, wait, you're saying your job is what you got to cut out? Hey, I mean, if you got the savings, now don't go quit and talk about Rondelle said quit my job, and then times get rough and you're like, no, like, be wise. But if you got the savings and you feel like God is leading you to that, by all means, because I left my job, and I had to do it, because for me, I'm like, if I don't, it's either now or never. And I gotta take a bet on me. I gotta take a chance on me. No one is coming to save you. So you have to, oh my gosh. Yeah, every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm live, unless I say otherwise. But honestly, because I'm not on IG, it's kind of hard to say. Yes, definitely watch the replay for sure. But I'm wrapping up, because tomorrow's my sister's birthday, and I do have to finish my newsletter and stuff. It would let me not be overwhelmed. Hey, I mean, if the fund's looking like you could do it, sis, then I say do it. But that's me. That's me. Like, look at your budget, take it up with God. Don't let me lead you astray, but I'm just saying I had to take that leap myself. But it's like, yes, notification bell gang. Make sure you click it. basically they were filling their schedule with stuff, and God was like, but I'm not pleased with this. So it's like what was a good thing ended up becoming a stifling thing, and ended up over time drawing them away from what God really wanted them to do, and ultimately where he wanted their hearts to be. And so we kind of have to look at ourselves too and say, like, am I just doing this just because I feel like I got to do it? Am I doing this out of fear? That's something I've had to check myself on too recently. I've done that, but it just notified that's really random. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. YouTube, I'm not going to quit. Okay, good. Like, like, don't listen to me. And then, hey, Yasmin, I know like notifications are not working or whatever. YouTube won't let me be great, but it's all good because it's where it need to be said. But it's just like, I've had to remind myself of that, because there's a thin line between I'm going to get after this and I'm not going to let excuses stop me. Because like I said, no one's coming to save you. And a lot of times we say we're waiting on God, but it's really fear, like I said in the second point, that holds us back. It's like, you're not waiting on God. A lot of us have a fear of success that we don't realize we have. A lot of us have a fear of the work that it's going to take to accomplish what we want. A lot of us want a handout. A lot of us, we get frustrated in the journey because it's not growing at the rate that we want it to grow at. And so we say, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. You got to keep going. That's just a part of the process. You're going to try. You're going to fail. You're going to try. It's not going to come out like you thought. You're going to have to go back, try again, be back at the drawing board. You're going to have to keep going. But you have to have a serious heart to heart with yourself and tell yourself, is it worth it? Do I really want this or do I not? Because at the end of the day, if you really want that dream to come true, if you really want that goal to come to pass in your life, you're going to have to do the work, because no one is going to save you. No one is giving you any handouts, Quitting doesn't mean being without a job. It could be finding a better opportunity with better pay, benefits, and less stress. True. That's very true. So maybe that's something to look at too, which I know you're already doing, Alicia, because I know you were looking at switching career fields and stuff, which that in of itself is a task. But yes, I agree, Sakia, for sure. And so you just have to really have a heart to heart with yourself. Because a lot of times we say, I'm waiting on God, or, God's telling me to rest in this season and stuff. But is he really telling you to rest? Or are you just resting because you're tired of working and you feel like you should see the fruit by now? But it's not your time to reap yet. You still got some more sowing to do. You still got some more growing to do, some more learning. You still got some more trials to go through and stuff like that. But when that fruit bears, it's going to be worth it. The testimony is going to be that much stronger. So really have a heart to heart with yourself. And then you also got to ask yourself, is it really, really worth it? Like, honestly, or is this a dream that I'm holding on to that is no longer valid for my life? Because pivots happen. And a lot of times we hold on. Oh, that's good. I was resting in fear. Yes. Trust me, I've been there too. And sometimes it could be signs of other things too. Like, I know one sign of depression, sometimes, not in everybody, but sometimes how depression or anxiety could show itself in people is to not do anything, So you have all these things to do and you're like, oh man, I got to do this. I got to do that. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And instead of doing it, you're like, I'm going to just take me a nap, and maybe, here or there, if you're really tired, sure. But if that's always your response, it could be deeper emotional and mental issues going on there. I'm not going to diagnose anybody. I'm not a professional, but I'm just saying those are things to really consider. Like, why am I in such a blur, a fog, a funk? Like, what is going on? Why can't I seem to just get this going? And maybe there are other things going on in your life too that got you kind of in a tizzy. So really sit with yourself, but you have to reach a point, because at the end of the day, it's your dream. It's your goal. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to save you. I can't live your life for you. I can sit here and give you all the motivation in the world, but you have to put pen to paper, hand to plow, effort and life into that thing and say, I'm going to do this and nothing is going to stop me. Until you get to a point where you get sick and tired of starting and stopping your business, your dream, your goals, it's not going to be accomplished. And so you just have to, and it's going to come with sacrifice. Maybe you got to not hang out. I mean, most of us on here are hanging out anyway, but for those of you watching the replay, maybe you got to not hang out, maybe you got to not be watching Netflix. Maybe you got to, spend less time talking to family on the phone or whatever. Maybe you got to stay up a little later, get up a little earlier. There might be some sacrifices that come along the way, and it's just for a season. But I know this is something that God had to reignite the flame with me on, because in 2020 the fire was lit under me so hard, and I was like on a high, like a fast track. Like I was just blazing the trail. And then 2021 came and life hit me upside the head. I was in the fight for my life in 2021. And Yasmin knows because me and her were going through it last year in different ways, but still so similar because we're often walking through the same season. And so 2021 ripped me a new one. And then this year started and I thought it was going to be like one way. And now God's like, nope, we're going this way. But I'm excited because now I'm slowly but surely getting my grit back. It's just I'm like I said, closing a lot of doors from old chapters in my life and kind of getting to what God needs me to be positioned for the new. Okay. Last year had us in a chokehold. Like we can look back and laugh at it now, but we were not laughing last year. There were a lot of text messages and voice notes and phone calls where we were literally moved to tears and so on and so forth. And so we were in the fight for our lives. You know, we were going through it. But it's just like this year, I'm just like, I'm not stopping. Like I have a goal in mind. I have a date in mind where all of these goals that I'm thinking about, some in which I've shared with you guys tonight, are going to come to pass. And nothing or no one is going to stop me. Like I am going to fight. And especially because like I was telling my mom today in relation to the thing that I got denied for, that my mom was more hopeful about than me, but to me, you know, it would have been nice, but whatever. And I was like, I am all that I got. Like, obviously my mom and sister too, but we all we got. Christian, I'm the only person he really got. Like my mom and sister try, and I'm thankful, but at the end of the day, I'm the only person he really got. Ain't nobody helping me. Like I said earlier, I get everything out the mud, like struggle. Okay, struggle and I are very familiar. Nothing comes easy to me, but at the end of the day, I'm very determined, and it's built my tenacity and my faith to know that I can make it through anything with God's help. Friend, I'm not ready to. We smiling now, Yasmin. We smiling. Lord, deliver me from my resentment towards you. Okay, that's a whole nother word in and of itself. Actually, I might have to do a live stream on that. That might just be next week's live stream. Thanks for that idea, Yasmin. I'm jotting that down. Let me get a sticky note and jot that down because I feel the ideas flowing right now as I speak. And I'm about to use that same title. Hopefully, you don't mind. I'll pay you any profits I get from it. My profits for my YouTube videos be like $2, so I'll give you $1. Lord, deliver. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. Me from my. And that's another thing too. This YouTube thing, it's not giving what it was supposed to give. But y'all saw my video on that one because I'm like, y'all, you gassed it up real bad. Like gas it up real bad. I missed the goals. Thank God for the replay. Okay. And so I've been talking to Sean about that. Like nothing has been easy for this fan. Nothing. Okay. And I was watching something. I want to say it was a sermon. I don't know if it was Pastor Keon or if it was like one of these YouTube influencers. It was somebody, but I feel like it was in a sermon or something. But they were like, when you're chosen, nothing comes easy to you or something like that. It was really good. I can't even recall everything. If I can remember and find the link, I'll try my best. I'll share it with y'all or at least let you know who it was on the community tab. But all I know is whatever they were preaching, I was like, oh my goodness, it's like so much truth because I could attest to it in my own life. I can smile, but I can't. I'm laughing, sis. I'm laughing for you. I'll make sure I'm in the chat early for that. Yes. Okay. Because whoo, child, the mud, Alicia, that thick, nasty mud too. Not that little cutesy mud when you just got a little sprinkle. That mud that's thick, like your shoe comes off your foot when you walk in it. Like that. That's the mud that I gotta get it out of. YouTube is very much giving y'all. Yeah, he's so right. Forget right. You know, like why, Lord, why? I have a pending, I think $64 right now as we speak. And I was excited. I was like, okay, $64 in 2 months. Come on. Like $2. Okay. You're gonna get a whopping $2 from the profits of this video because the way that them payouts been looking, child. I admire your consistency with this podcast, Queen. It's gonna happen. Keep going. Thank you so much, sis. And that's another thing too, God's put on my heart because y'all been telling me that for about 2 years now, and I was like, but he definitely been like, no, everything that you've been airing me about, like you need to start. So that's another reason too why I went on hiatus because it's just like I need to focus. And that goes back to the sentiment I was finishing up about doing good things at the wrong time can make it bad. Like nothing was wrong with me posting on IG and sharing encouragement and things like that. But it was becoming a bad thing because my heart wasn't in it. It was blurring my creativity. I didn't have time to sit in the presence of God because he's my great like creator, consultant. Like all my best ideas come from him. And I just do just a dash of benchmarking because for me, too much benchmarking blurs my creativity. But if you're not like me and you can benchmark and it helps you, then do whatever helps you. But if you are like me, I'm just going to give you a word from the wise. Don't overdo it because it's going to cloud your juice. So I was like, God was like, yeah, get off IG right now. Like, just get off social. The only one that I'm still on is Facebook because I have to do a part of the group thing that I was talking about, the meetup life group or whatever. But even still, Facebook is just different for me. Like, I don't know. I feel like Facebook actually helps my creativity. I don't know if it's because I'm in groups and I see what people talking about and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a good topic. I don't know, but it's different. Like Instagram is really a thorn in my side. Like when I get too consumed in Instagram, it's not good. And TikTok helps my creativity too. It really helps my creative juices flow. And it's honestly just a funny outlet for me. And so I like to do it. I haven't done one in a while, but I do have some planned. So yeah. But let me on the comments about so he said, yes, patience. That's what he's been reminding me of a lot too lately. Like I'm patient with you. Like when you was out here running these streets, running real stupid and crazy and reckless, I was patient with you. Okay. so be patient with me. And I'm just like, okay, guy, like you're right. $2 is a good video. That one that's doing it right. Because the way YouTube got us on this plantation right now, it's like, hold on now. Hold on. Girl, I'm rolling. We have to be pumped off $62. Right. I was like, yes, $62 in 2 months. We moving up. I stand in agreement. Yes, I stand in agreement for success for all y'all. Because like I said, yes, change is coming. I keep y'all in prayer all the time. Like I just want to see us be great, y'all. And I know we have so much greatness in us, all of our businesses, everything we do have a potential to be big enough to leave an inheritance, generational wealth, even be multimillionaires. I really do believe I'm in the midst of some multimillionaires. And I'm not just saying that to gas y'all up. I truly believe it. And so we need to really have a heart to heart with ourselves and be like, am I scared of success? I'm waiting on God as a crutch? Have I really given this my best effort, or am I making excuses? And we really have to have that hard talk with ourselves. And that's why, like I said, coaches, mentors, consultants, even accountability partners come into play, but it has to be someone you could trust to be vulnerable with, because that relationship has to be built on trust. And you have to respect them enough to where they can check you respectfully. And you're like, you know what, you're right. Like, yeah, I have been slacking. I got to do better. I got to get more organized. That's another thing too, that I didn't write this down, but I just thought of it. When you're more organized and structured, the overwhelm will be less. But you got to be intentional. You got to plan your days. Don't let your days plan you. Put structure to your days, direction to your days, so that way it can be as structured as possible, and you leave less room for just like happenstance. Well, I definitely agree. When your heart's not in it, you start motivating very one-sided. Yes, okay. Or moving, where I think you meant to say moving, very one-sided. But yeah, you know how we do with these typos, girl. But yeah, I feel you. Exactly. You're very one-sided for sure. I just posted today on IG from about 2 weeks ago, and I remember why I don't post. It takes too long and don't give results. Yeah, like IG, I don't know. I feel like depending on what you do, for some people I know it really works. For others, it's kind of like, so I feel like for me, for what I'm doing, it's necessary, but honestly, just being on YouTube helps. Like my YouTube engagement hasn't gone down from me not being on IG, and I have so much more clarity right now. So yeah, I'm gonna just take these next few months and just keep doing this. I fall into comparison on Facebook. I said, really? Wow. I guess it depends on your friend group. Like my friend group, or the people that I'm linked to on IG are more apt to like do the most on IG versus on Facebook. Like Facebook is like family and like friends from back in the day, or even people honestly that I'm meeting at this church now, but it's like more humor. Like my Facebook is like memes, discussions on like current events or just things in the church and things like that. So it gives me a lot of inspiration because that's what my channel is about. So I'll be like, what are people talking, like what's going on in the world that people are upset about, or just like conversing about? I'm like, interesting, and then I'll think of video topics. But yeah, my Facebook is really good to kind of just escape. My IG is comparison central. Like you're gonna be like, oh, I'm a failure. Oh my goodness, wow, they just got a promotion. Oh man, she just got me. Oh wow, she just made 10K. okay, like, but 10 minutes on IG, and I'm like, why, Lord, why? Like, but Facebook, I could be on it and be like, okay, I'm inspired. Okay, this is what y'all talking about. All right, I see. And then the memes too. I get a lot of my funny memes that I be sharing on Instagram, on Facebook, because my friends list is crazy. Like, they be cutting up. So I like, I like to be on Facebook for that. I was considering coming to YouTube. Ooh, you should. I'm not good at editing, but I used to love going like, you should. Because honestly, with what you talk about and what you're teaching, we need that. So I second coming to YouTube. And thankfully what you do too, you can be like just straight up. Like how I'm live right now, you can be straight up because your personality is amazing, first of all. You know what you're talking about, and that's something that everybody needs. So people will tune in for sure. The type of right, the hamster wheel. Instagram will have me like just gone. Facebook is only family and close high school, college classmates, and friends. I stay clear because of the straight John. Ooh, child, your Facebook sounds like I might need to get me a bag of popcorn and watch and see see what's going on. My Facebook is chill. Like, we chilling on Facebook. We cracking jokes, we laughing, we having thoughtful discussions. That's my Facebook. So I don't mind going on it. But Instagram, I like the difference in mindset. So, that's all I really had to share though. I just want us to be great, y'all. So let's stop making excuses. Let's stop resting out of fear, because really it's not resting, it's procrastination. And like I said, it could be signs of other things going on, which if you have professional like mental counselors or therapists you could talk to them. Spend quiet time with God, get centered. Quiet time with God helps you get centered, y'all. Like, seriously, we need to really cut out the noise, because I realize how much we fill our days. And God checked me on that recently too. Like, why are you always putting on the radio? Why don't you just drive in silence sometimes? Like, I'm trying to talk to you, but you turn up the radio. Even if it is gospel music, it's still draining out what I'm trying to tell you right now. Like, so it's like, just sit in silence. If you're someone who likes to be in nature, get in nature. I get very inspired by being outside in nature, and thankfully where I live is very pretty. So maybe it's driving to a farm or driving through a mountain range or sitting by a lake or something. Like, do what you got to do, but get reconnected, cut out the noise, and get to work. There's an assignment on your life, and you sitting here playing around like you got all the time in the world. Tomorrow is not promised. Like, get to work. I didn't mean to end on such a harsh note, but I just wanted to tell y'all that. That's why I was hesitant about YouTube. I've always known my limitations with technology and couldn't have imagined ever editing. Your editing is amazing, Yasmin. Like, you give your all with editing. I'm a lazy editor. Y'all finna get these same music songs in the background, these same effects, the same intro video, period. Like, I'm not doing anything extra. Be happy that I even edited a video, because y'all know me. I'll hop on a live in a minute and y'all get what you get, and that's it. That's that on that. We will be great. We are great. We are successful. Abundance follows us. Okay. Like, we're good. Our children are not going to know the struggle that a lot of us have seen and experienced, and some of us are still walking through. That ends here. The buck stops here. I am speaking inheritance. I'm speaking generational wealth. I'm speaking financial security. I'm speaking options. Our children will have options to do what they love to do, what they want to do, and not have to do what they have to do just to make ends meet. So we really are going to be amazing, and our children are going to be even better, because they're going to stand on our shoulders, and it's just going to keep getting better and better with the generations. Yes, that silent time, it grounds me so much. If I don't get quiet time with God, I notice it. Like, last week I went like 3 days. Your girl was grumpy. Like, I noticed the difference. Get what you get and don't get upset. Right. I do give my all. I hate it. I wish I weren't a perfectionist. That is okay, Yasmin, because it shows that you give your all. Just as long as you don't let the perfectionism make you procrastinate, because that's something else we can struggle with too. That could be another sign of perfectionism, when you procrastinate because you want it to be like a certain way, and you're like, I won't do it until that. But I don't see that in you, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, you really do give your all. That's what I tell Joseph. Yes, in the name of Jesus. Yes, yes. Amen and amen. And that's on the blood. Hallelujah. Okay, so get to work, ladies. No more excuses. Okay, we in the second half of the year. Let's make every day, every week, every month count, and fight for this like your life depends on it, because it does. And someone else's breakthrough depends on the work that you do in your businesses and your ministries. It's not about us. It's about God and who's attached to what we're doing. So let's get to work. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel like, am I making progress? You are. Just keep going. We can't afford to let up. The enemy has tried to take us out in different ways, y'all. He done tried, but we are still here by the blood of the Lamb. So we got to go hard. Like there's too much at stake. It's too much at stake. If the video bores me, I have to do something about it. Yeah, oh, that's true. If the video is boring when I watch, I'm like, we're redoing this or something like, because this ain't gonna. If I'm bored, I can imagine how y'all gonna feel. I can't wait to watch the replay. I can't wait for you to hear it too. I can't wait. And again, I did say at the beginning I wasn't going to be here long, and here we are, an hour and 19 minutes later. Every time I say that, it's like an hour and a half later. But seriously though, like I'm about to wrap it up. That's it. I cannot afford to let up. Literally, we can't. There's too much at stake. There's like, I'm going to leave y'all with this thought. Think of where you are today in your business, your ministry, whatever it is God put on your heart. If heaven forbid you were to take your last breath tonight, will you be content knowing that you left behind what is currently going on? Like, honestly, would you be like, man, that was great? Or would you be disappointed? If the answer is B, I would be disappointed. You gotta step it up, sis. You gotta get to work. You gotta get to work. I know for me personally, I would be disappointed if I left Christian in this, array of things. I would be disappointed because I know that I'm capable of better. And that's what I'm working diligently to accomplish. So just have a heart to heart with yourself, really get down and dirty in your thoughts with God. Take the rebuke because God is a loving when he rebukes us. If you hear condemnation and stuff, that's not God, that's the enemy. But if you hear like a loving correction, like a father, that's God. So yeah, just think about that. And next Thursday, we're going to talk about, Lord, deliver me from my resentment towards you. Thank you, Yasmin, for the idea, because I'm going to talk about that. So I wouldn't be disappointed. Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, my computer was acting up. I wouldn't be disappointed, but I wouldn't be like, that was great. It is, however, my best in the season, which is all that matters too. Give it your best in the season. I'm giving my all. Help me, Lord. Yes. I know for me, and not only just in your business, but where your life is in general. Let me say that. I know for me, where my life is in general, I would not be thrilled. I would be disappointed because Christian deserves better than this. So, for me, I'm kind of in a different season where I'm really getting myself situated, And so it's just like, but like you said, I think this is my best in the season. It's best with the circumstances, but yeah, I'm getting better. So just have a heart to heart with yourself and trim the fat and recommune with God, reconnect with God, and get down to the nitty gritty. So that's all I have for y'all. Next Thursday, like I said, we're going to talk about that. Deliver me from my resentment towards you, because that's the title. Let me see what else, because I jotted down some video ideas. I am going to try to get a video up about Tuesday, Lord willing, I get this video taped, y'all, because my main thing in this season has been getting them taped. Editing doesn't take me long, but it's getting them taped. I'm going to talk about how my unplanned pregnancy helped me, and give my unplanned pregnancy story in detail. And then next Thursday, I'm going to talk about what Yasmin said, Lord, deliver me from my resentment towards you. And then the 26th, that Tuesday, I'm going to talk about stop speaking prematurely, because a lot of us speaking too soon. And that's going to be a video upload, hopefully. If not, I'll just go live. And I don't know what the last Thursday is going to be yet, but we're going to figure that one out. But yeah, so that's it, y'all. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for tuning in. What is my assignment? At least not with you coming in at the last minute. I'm about to dismiss class. You're talking about what's my assignment. I'm weak, but no, your assignment for everybody, and those on the replay too, is to, one, think about what can I trim the fat on in my life? What are the things that I can stop doing, get rid of, to like not be overwhelmed? Get in the presence of God in that silence too. Don't just go to God with your request, but sit and listen to him. Think and jot down after you come out of that silence, if you want to set a timer or whatever. Then like jot down, and you have to do this immediately. Jot down what you heard. Did you hear a melody or a song in your head? Did you hear certain words or phrases being repeated over and over? Did you hear God say specific instructions? Like for me, what I shared earlier when he was like, don't share certain things with certain people, and the timeliness of when you share it matters, and to not do things just to please people, just for the appearance, but to do things that actually are pushing the needle forward, and so on and so on. He told me a ton of stuff, but those are the two that were very like, do not do these things. And what was the other thing I said? Did I already say have a heart to heart with yourself? I can't remember if I said that already. But either way, if I didn't, have a heart to heart with yourself. I think that was all the homework, y'all. Yeah, I think that was all the homework. But nevertheless, I'm gonna let y'all go ahead. Y'all, tomorrow is my sister's birthday. Ooh, ooh. So we turning up tomorrow and Saturday. I can't wait. So the newsletter is going out tomorrow afternoon, not in the morning, because like I said, I gotta finish it and I got some other stuff to do to prepare. Because guess who's not working tomorrow? Me. Okay. I'm like, we turn it up. Hey, hey. And also, I wish we were in Savannah again this year. Last year, y'all, we were in Savannah, and it was a lot of fun. Y'all, I'm about to share my sister's Cash App too, if you want to bless her. Because my sister, she is like such a gem. I'm so happy for her. We have a close relationship. You know, when I got pregnant with Christian, she could have easily kicked me out and left me to my own devices, but she really helped me out, and she never wavers to this day. If Christian needs something, she's like right there. And you know, I honestly could not be doing what I am doing right now if it wasn't for my sister. So I'm not gonna talk too much before I start boohoo crying. She's not even on the live. And I'm crying, like, you know, but she does watch my videos. She gonna watch the replay and be like, really? Because one thing about me is I'm gonna cry. Okay, we gonna cry this thing out. So that's my sister's Cash App. If you want to bless her for her birthday, no donation is too small, and I know that she would appreciate it. Because she's also way more introverted. She's way more introverted than me. So, anyways, y'all have a good night. Be here Tuesday for the upload. I don't know if I'm gonna do a premiere, and the next Thursday, every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendars, because YouTube is probably gonna fake again on notifications. But 9 p.m. Eastern. If it's Thursday night and I'm not on live by 9:20, I'm not going live that night. So don't even worry about it. But just every Thursday, get in the habit of check-in. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central every Thursday. And Tuesday uploads, I try to go for the afternoon, evening, so just keep an eye out. Or live streams are typically 7. Well, no, I'm not going live because I'm going to the young adult services this summer. But love y'all. Have a good weekend. Be safe. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.